the speed of fiscal adjustment, one thing that I think is really important to take into account is we have no financing. We can't just dream up a speed that doesn't exist. Okay, so we need concessional grant financing, and as a middle-income country, nobody is going to provide that. That is the reality. We can try to fix the system, but it can take years. So one of the things that drives the speed is the lack of financing. And as to, on Ishak's point on needing more time, I don't think this is a HIPC case. We are middle-income countries. The world is not. HIPC costs $76 billion. And the length of time that it took is not something that, anybody's going to tolerate for a middle-income country. And why not? Because you have to finance that country until then. We have had 16 programs. We have had plenty of time to fix our structural problems. So what makes us certain that if you give another 5 years for Sri Lanka to fix its problems, or 3 years, that is going to do it? Our politicians are not to be trusted, to be honest. What they will do is kick the can down the road, as they have been doing. And then we can't at the same time complain about intrusive conditionality. The whole problem is fundamentally for a country like us is that we have to hold our governments accountable. It's not the job of the international community and IFIs to hold our governments accountable. We are a democracy and we can do it. And the Aragalaya people got it exactly right. They didn't blame the outside world. They blamed their leaders, and they said they want honest, competent, accountable government. And we have now run it to the end of the road. So my basic thing is we've had all these years, constant warnings from the IMF. Read any Article 4 report from the IMF. They're all published. They have the DSAs, but we chose to ignore them. So I think you can't just sort of blame IFIs for not enforcing this on a country and then at the same time blame them for being too intrusive. We're not children. We should grow up and simply accept our responsibilities and implement the tough stuff. And unfortunately, we have now run out of road, and it's very painful. I'm not disputing that at all. That's why I'm talking about having a very quick restructuring. The other thing I would say, drawing from my experience at the IMF, is restructurings can be very quick, like I was saying, and countries like Korea grew after 6 months into after the program started. Why? Because they depreciated their currency. All of Southeast Asia depreciated their currencies very significantly, and that allowed them space. They became very competitive in export markets and grew. And so Thailand, Korea, these are the cases we have to look at. Not Africa, not HIPC, not low-income countries. The middle-income countries are way too rich, unfortunately. We don't consider ourselves rich, but we are kind of, $4,000 a year. We're not exactly poor. So we have to have, the international community realistically is not going to finance us till we fix our problems for 3 more years, when for the last 16 programs, we didn't do that. So we just simply, as a civil society, need to hold our leaders accountable. One other final point, the letter of intent will be published on the 20th of March, hopefully when the IMF board meets on Sri Lanka, and that will give civil society an opportunity to go through that document, look at the timelines, and hold our leaders accountable to actually deliver on them. So I would say that's just one other thing in terms of IFI involvement.